competed in the singing competition show, Objetivo Fama, and gained fame in the Spanish music world. After singing professionally for multiple years, he decided to return to his passion of law enforcement. He has now worked as a police officer for 10 years in the San Francisco Bay Area and was recently promoted to sergeant. He also recently earned a master's degree, which he hopes will help him continue growing in his profession and moving up in rank.
Wow, welcome. Welcome to GanapTV.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, just can you greet our viewers?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I met your hosts a few years back, and they reached out and told me what a great show they're starting ever since COVID-19, the coronavirus, shelter in place, and I was happy to be part of it. So thanks for having me.
And we're so honored that you grace our invitation.
Yeah, despite of your busy schedule, being a frontliner.
So we would like to ask you some important things regarding the situation in San Francisco, where you live. Okay, and aside from that, we also want to know about you as a person. So our viewers would like to find out about it.
Yes,
Just like
exactly.
your profile, your bio profile. So, we're so excited to know about it more. So, first, we would like to know about the current situation in San Francisco. And we just heard from our guest previously that San Francisco is already a general quarantine.
Pace, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So San Francisco is interesting. Right now, we are starting to slowly open everything. Some of the cities around San Francisco already have opened, but San Francisco itself is slowly opening. Every few days they move to the next phase, which is more things open. So they're starting to open restaurants and things like that. Due to the protests that are going on, it kind of pushed everything back, and we had to deal with the protests for the last 8 to 10 days. But for the last 3 days or so, it's calmed down. So it seems like the anger is calming down and the situation's getting a little bit better. So hopefully it continues to go that way.
Okay. Yeah, John, my next question is, we all know that being a police is, there's a lot of, exposure. You are exposed uh, to the virus because you encounter a lot of people. So, as a police officer, how do you handle that situation?
It's hard depending on the calls, but at least for most of the officers, we're used to dealing with people that already might have diseases.
Mhm.
So we've always used gloves. We always kept our distance, cleaned our hands a lot before coronavirus. When coronavirus came out, we just started doing it a little bit more. But it wasn't as big of a change for us because there's been a lot of diseases that we were protecting ourselves against before this. So we just started doing it a little bit better, cleaning a little bit more and washing our hands a little bit more, but it wasn't as scary as I guess the public was taking it because they're not used to that type of environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also we heard that the people in San Francisco were so well disciplined. That's
Discipline.
why you were able to cope up with the situation so fast.
Yeah,
Is that really
yeah.
true? Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting for us. I didn't think we were going to be able to do it so fast, but everyone really listened to the guidance that we were getting. Everyone stayed home. San Francisco is a very modern city, so everyone already had their apps and could order food on their phones and order their shopping online and stuff like that. So I think because it's such a tech city, they were able to do a lot of things through their phone, and it wasn't as big of a change for their life compared to other areas in the United States. So we lucked out, and I was shocked to see it happen so good and so fast, but we're lucky in that sense.
Okay, so you were telling us about regarding the protests. Can you tell us more about this? Because what can you say about this situation and how come that the people really protested
Mhm.
regarding this situation, regarding the racism issue?
Right. Um, the Bay Area is historically one of the first or very advanced when it comes to diversity and things like that. So we've been hearing about the fight against racism and things like that for a long time. So when this incident happened and the protest started, we knew it was going to be really big here. We have a lot of advocates for civil rights and things like that live here. So it got pretty scary, to be honest. The first couple days were very scary because the rioting and they're stealing and breaking into stores and things like that. After about the first 4 days, it started turning into more peaceful protests. And once it became peaceful, my job and the job of all the officers here was just to make sure it stayed peaceful. And there were really, really nice ones that were very powerful, the protests. It was just at nighttime, sometimes it would turn into violence, and it would be scary on both sides, I think. People that don't know police officers are afraid of police officers, and the police officers that were out there were afraid that they were going to get attacked. So you had two sides that were afraid of each other, and that's perfect storm for bad things to happen. I ended up working about 9 days straight and so many hours I can't even remember. But I'm happy to say I think it's calming down, and now people are moving towards solutions. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks and months, we'll find some solutions that will help both sides work better together.
So, what do you think does your government is doing right now to really prevent the situation to happen again?
Oh, that's a great question. What I've noticed over the years is that California and the Bay Area has really high standards for their officers, and those standards aren't the same across the United States. There's other places that have lower standards, and I think what the politicians and things like that are going to put forward is that everyone raises their standards to a higher level. So more training, more diversity training, so people understand people from different backgrounds better. So I think that's going to really change and is for the better. I think that's a great thing that's going to happen. I also think they're going to start funding other organizations instead of only cops. So for example, right now as a police officer, they'll call me to go save your dog. They'll call me to go help your cat if it's in a tree. They'll call me if there's someone with mental health issues, and the police officer always has to show up for all of these calls. And I think in the future, they're going to invest in people that can work in those specific areas. So if someone has a mental health issue, they're probably going to only send mental health experts and not police officers or things of that nature. So I think it's a great change that's coming. It's just unfortunate the way that it had to happen, you know?
Mm. So I heard, Josh, I heard there are also looting incident in California. How about in San Francisco? Is there any like that incident, the looting incident?
Oh, that was
Oh,
a
I
lot of it.
thought it's only
Yeah.
in LA, in Beverly Hills.
No, it was all over the main cities, the downtown areas of San Francisco, the downtown area of Oakland here. They were all getting looted. They were attacking the Targets, the Target
Mhm.
store, and they were destroying those. It happened everywhere in the big cities. So we
Okay.
dealt with it a lot. And I think that was the scary part for the officers because it was
Actually,
happening everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
In the past, I think it's happened in one city or maybe two cities, but this was the first time we've ever seen it happening everywhere in all the major cities in the U.S. So it's pretty scary, and we're just happy that it's calming down now. So
that's great.
So, why do you think that these people really getting wild? You know?
I think it's two things. One, there's truth to the history of racism, and there's truth to certain laws that treated minorities harsher than other people. So, for example, they called crack the poor man's drug, and that poor man's drug was it's at a bigger level in the law. It was a bigger crime than the rich man's drug, which was cocaine. So those things didn't make sense. We look back at them, and it created a lot of issues. So I think there's a lot of anger and resentment on their end towards those laws. And then I think those things needed to change. But then the problem is that now there's people that just take advantage of the situation. So if everyone was just protesting peacefully or screaming loud but peacefully, the message would be heard as well. But then you get the people that take advantage and start stealing TVs and stealing shoes. And, that doesn't, I can't in my head understand how stealing a TV is going to help your cause, So I think it's two things. It's people that are taking advantage, and then there is some truth to it as well. So it's a mixture.
So, in your opinion, Josh, like regarding the racism issue, do you think there will be a solution to it since it has been a century issue? So, for
Actually,
your opinion on your side, do you think there will be a solution to it?
I think it's coming, but it's going to take a while. For example, for police officers, nowadays there's a lot of police officers that are also minorities. So, for example, my agency has a lot of Black officers, a lot of Latino officers like myself, a lot of Asian police officers. So now, because we're so much more diverse, I think we're going to start being able to deal with communities better than we used to in the past. And then also conversations like this are extremely important. people that are willing to hear both sides instead of only one side. And when people have the ability to really understand what's going on, they can start healing and moving forward. And that's what the goal is, and I hope that that's what happens. Because on both sides, it's just a lot of extreme thinking, and we need to find a way to bring it together and move forward. So I'm hopeful, though. I think it's going to happen. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, I just recall one of the guests told us that we have to embrace our differences. We have to embrace different cultures. So I think that is the solution.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yes, also acceptance is very important. I think you just have to accept who they are and what they can offer, and you just have a broad-minded, that's very important. Don't be limited to what you know, but
Right.
rather, accept and learn more. Education is very important.
Education is
Yeah.
Right.
extremely important. I
Yeah.
I was talking to some of my family because they were asking me a lot of these questions. And I was telling them that, I got into being a police officer because I grew up in a very tough area where kids were robbing each other. I remember on a bus, they held a gun and tried to steal shoes. So I became a police officer because I wanted to help the communities that were suffering. And so when I came into it, it was to kind of help society, right? So I think when more people get into it with this kind of way of thinking, it gets better, and people have to continue talking and educating themselves and things like that. Unfortunately, I think the media does play a trick sometimes, and it really either puts a lot of fear into people or it makes people angry. And I wish that that gets dealt with as well. So you have both sides talking and communication between both sides rather than just two people fighting all the time.
Yeah, speaking of education, we would like to congratulate Josh because
Yeah.
he recently earned a master's degree. And congratulations, Josh.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was
Let's
so
talk
hard.
about that. Let's talk about that. So,
Yeah.
since you already graduated the master degree, so what are your plans in the future?
So first of all, I never thought I'd get a master's degree. In my mind, I just didn't think I was smart enough to do it. And as I get older, I've realized that, I'm only limited by my own mind. If I tell myself I can't do it, then I can't do it. But if I try and I do it day by day by day, I've been able to do some things that I didn't think I could do, like earn the master's degree. So I like telling people that, like, don't look at the big mountain ahead of you. Just take it one step at a time, and you'll realize that you can do most things. So for me, the master's degree is a huge. I'm extremely proud of it, and I wish and I hope it turns into being able to move up in the police department, because I want to be able to have the discussions that I'm having fair and balanced, and try to make those changes that are coming, because they're going to come, and they need new leaders in the police to be able to do these changes, and I hope I can. I know my education will help. I'm hoping it does. So yeah.
So, do you have any political plans in the future, like to run as a governor, as a
You know,
politician?
I've been asked that before, and I think maybe, but not yet. Yeah, I want to do what I'm doing now for a while and get some good experience under, and then we'll see what the future has in store. But I wouldn't be afraid of it. I would try it.
Yeah, with,
Why
with the
not?
kind of person that you are, I think you will win.
Yeah.
Hey, I got 2 votes.
Yeah, you already have our votes.
Yeah.
We can also campaign you
Yeah,
in
we
San
will go
Francisco.
to
We have lots of
California.
friends in US. So
That's awesome.
anyway, yeah. Anyway, so we also learned that you are born and raised as a Christian,
Yes.
family Christian. So do you have any conflict or any issue with regards to being a Christian and at the same time a law enforcer? Situation in compromising all those things like that.
To me, I think it helps. Um, and that's because you can look at the bigger picture. You just don't see the person committing the crime, and you just don't see what's right in front of you. You think of the entire life of that person and what led them to do what they're doing. Um, so for me, what I've seen in my own life, I am a lot nicer than other officers. For example, if I arrest someone for doing something bad, I calm down pretty quickly, and then I tell them, like, look, these are your life decisions. And I just feel like I come from I have more empathy than someone that doesn't have that background, that doesn't have a belief in God and things like that. Comes from the idea that we're all God's children, and God wants to save us all, and that if we want to go really into church, that Jesus died for all of us, right? So even if a criminal, even the best person, we all have to base it on God. So when I look at criminals or when I'm dealing with them, I'm looking at it as someone that needs God pretty much, and needs help. So I think that's helped me a lot. It's helped me a lot to be a nicer officer. But still, sometimes discipline is necessary. And I try to tell that to people. Sometimes if you arrest somebody, they learn and they don't ever do it again. If you're not there to discipline, maybe it gets into something bigger. So that's how I wrap around my brain about the whole situation. I look at it like that sometimes discipline is necessary, and you can do that and still love.
Exactly.
So it helps
Exactly.
a
At
lot,
the
Johnny,
same
no?
time, you can also minister to them.
Yes.
The love of God.
Yeah, when they some of them bring it up, and it's been amazing. For example, I'll say things because they won't preach to them, but if they bring it up and they start asking. So I've had people in my car and I'm listening to like Christian music, and then they'll start asking like, oh my God, I grew up in church and this, that, and the other. And then we start talking about the whole thing and the decisions that they're making and what brought them to where they're at. So I think there is place for it. And that's probably been some of the days that I felt the happiest that I had that background, because I was able to almost minister to them while on duty. So, it's kind of cool to do that in my position. So.
As a police officer, you need to take care of yourself. So are you still doing workout and to get fit?
Yes. So for about maybe about 3.5 years, I just hired officers. So I was in a desk, and all I did was work in a desk, and I never put on the uniform or anything like that. Gained weight, and I wasn't as healthy as I should have been. Yeah. But when I got promoted to sergeant, I have to go back to patrol and be outside, and it's important for safety reasons, and just for respect from even your peers, to be in shape and be strong if it ever comes out that I need to be strong in my calls and things like that. So ever since I got promoted, I got right back into the gym, and I got in shape again, and I'm still doing it. A lot of officers love, police officers love donuts. So I try not to eat those and just stay in good shape.
John, because before
Yeah.
I've seen some photos of Josh. You're one of the sexiest police officer, right?
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just like staying in shape.
I think that would be it's better that our policemen are in good shape, because here in the Philippines, before, our policemen have big stomach.
Tummy.
Now our government is doing a lot of things for our policemen to be in shape. So
Yes.
like you really really have a good body and shape. so people would really respect you because
Yeah.
you have that idea, like, you are in the law enforcement and you have to be in good shape, good health, and in good fit,
Role
right?
model, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of cops about that because some of them get out of shape. And the funny thing is, in the academy, we all go to the academy for many months, and you get into the best shape of your life before you start your career. So I don't understand why they get out of shape so quickly. Um, it's better for the profession. We look more professional. People are able to respect you a little bit more. And it's just a well-balanced lifestyle, health and the profession together. So I try to push it on as many people, as many officers as I can. Not all of them listen, but I think it's getting better. It is getting better. So
Yeah.
So how about your
uh,
yeah? How about your singing career? Are you still doing it?
not as much. I sing at events. I maybe last year there was a Latino day that my chief had to speak uh, to the Latin community, and I showed up in my police uniform and did a whole Spanish with salsa dancers and all that, and that was really fun. I'll do special events right now, but when I was in school, I didn't have a lot of time for anything. So now that I'm finished with that degree, I'm hoping to get back into it a little bit more.
So do you have plan to pursue your singing career?
Yes, I mean, I like writing music too. So if I don't sing it myself, I like writing for other artists, especially church artists, because that just comes really easy for me because I grew up in church. That's when I sit down and listen to music, I can write those lyrics really, really quick because that's what I'm used to. So I wrote a whole Christian album for my band maybe about 5 years ago, and moving forward, I wouldn't mind writing for other people or myself. So um, I'll see what I get into. After I graduated, I wanted to do a lot of things, but we had to deal with coronavirus. So
We're looking forward to your singing career soon.
Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah. And
Especially
John,
Christian song.
yeah, Christian song.
Yeah, Christian music, yes. Because
And
Bench and I were also Christian.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, then you can buy my song.
Yes.
And John, I just recalled because the last time, 5 years ago, Josh told us that he knows some Filipino food. Can you tell us about it, Josh?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So my best friend growing up was Filipino. He lived next door to me, and I would go over there and eat. It was puto and lumpia and a whole bunch of
Oh, he
things.
knows lumpia.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
lumpia, my
What
favorite.
kind of lumpia? You like it? Like
Oh my
there's
God.
lumpiang Shanghai and lumpiang gulay.
Oh my gosh. I
Vegetable.
don't. But yeah, in
Bean
San Francisco,
sprout. The
there's a
bean
huge.
sprout. Did you try the bean sprout lumpia? The vegetable one, or the
Fresh.
Oh
one
yeah,
with
I
the
tried the
pork?
vegetable one.
Ah,
I
you
tried the
tried the
vegetable.
vegetable.
How about
Okay.
balot?
The one
How
with
about
the
balot? You know
vinegar.
balot?
Yes, I know that too. Super good. Filipino food is the best. Uh, Luckily, there's a lot of police officers where I work that are Filipino, so they bring the food all the time.
Wow.
And
Sounds great.
yeah, yeah. One of my friends actually goes to the Philippines and teaches the police there. So it's like a group of Filipino police officers here in San Francisco that fly to the Philippines and teach the police officers there a whole bunch
Wow.
of the way we do stuff. So yeah.
So have you tried adobo?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good. Chicken adobo.
Wow.
That is really, really good. Great
That is
food. Great
amazing.
food.
At least we have
Yeah.
in common.
Yeah.
We have in common, like, food.
Food.
So also a lot of my Filipino friends all sing very nice. A lot of singers, and they do karaoke all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, Filipino loves to sing. Like
To sing.
Bench, he loves to
Oh.
sing. He's also a good singer.
No.
But don't let me sing. I'll just design clothes.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Josh, for for gracing our show. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you
We're
guys.
so
It
happy.
was,
We're so happy that you
Yeah.
really grant our invitation.
Invitation.
So you just have to give us your last message to our viewers.
Mhm.
okay. My last message, I guess, 2020 has been a very crazy year so far. But don't let it stop you. This was the year I got promoted this year. I got my master's this year, and I'm getting back into shape this year. It's really a mindset. If you let everything overwhelm you, you don't get anywhere. So try your best to stay positive. If you believe in God and you have faith, that is the best thing, because you can always have talk to and keep you motivated. But just keep reaching for your goals, because you can do it even in the crazy 2020 that we're all experiencing, and hopefully it'll all be over soon. So stick to it. God bless you.
Thank you
That's
so
so
much,
nice.
Josh.
That's so nice.
We salute you
Can you
for
make
that.
yeah? You
Yeah.
know, the longer I looking at you, Josh, you look like Tom Cruise.
Oh, cool. That's cool. No.
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
Mabuhay, Pilipinas.
Mabuhay, Pilipinas. Mabuhay, Pilipinas. I'm Josh from San Francisco. I'm a police officer and a singer. I sing. I want you all to watch GanapTV, the best shows that are coming out on YouTube right now. So hope to see you there.
Wow.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
nice.
you. And also, I
Pag
gonna
nandyan siguro, baka meron.
wag na
Okay,
yan.
siguro.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so
Okay,
much,
Josh.
Josh.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Yeah,
God
it's great meeting
bless.
you guys. I wish you the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Do you have any plans to do modeling also?
Well, let me get in shape a little longer, and then.
Remember, we asked you to model for us,
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. Say
but
hello
you
to
refused
Edwin,
because
ha?
you feel that you're still fat at that
I
time.
know. I'm getting closer this time. I'll be good.
Yeah. Thank you, Josh.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Catch 'em all.